Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. There is no turning back now. Today, it's my pleasure to present to you the alien Xenomorph Parasite Mythos legendary scale bust from Sideshow Collectibles. First, I'd like to say that this is going to be the last review in this studio space, as we are moving house at the moment, and I just really wanted to make one more review before that happens. And by God, what a review that is going to be, ladies and gentlemen. Any one of you who were watching this channel before previously knows that Sideshow's Alien and Predator Mythos line was something that I really loved from the very first moment it's been posted on their website. It is really hard for me to believe that I actually managed to snatch up one of these pieces, and I must say that not only for a great price I managed, so it was a real deal, a real bargain, but I also have to add that I am incredibly lucky, since the piece originally had an incredibly low edition number, as most of you know, only 200 pieces produced worldwide. And the one I actually managed to purchase is an artist proof. Therefore, it's not part of the original edition numbering. Artist proofs are very special collectibles, as they are usually given to the people who worked on the project. Therefore, as I previously mentioned, not part of the official numbering, and they are usually coming from the personal collections of the artists. Here, somewhere I will include a photo of the base of the bottom, or the bottom of the base, that clearly shows that there is no number there. And as we move closer to the beast to look at the magnificent details, it's definitely worth mentioning the names of the fantastic artists who brought this piece to life. The piece mainly was sculpted by the wonderfully talented Paul Komoda, who is not only one of my favorite artists out there, but also a very good friend. And I must say he did an absolutely amazing job on this. Although it's not unexpected when it comes from Paul. Few people know that Paul actually worked for H.R. Giger back in the early 2000s. Giger himself was a giant fan of Paul's work, and because of that, Paul earned the opportunity to sculpt some of the personal pieces of the visionary Swiss artist. Paul is very much in his comfort zone here, creating a new look for the iconic alien creature. He actually sculpted many occasions in the past, including Toynami's Cinemacat alien Big Chap, an alien grail piece for many concerned. But Paul was not the only sculptor working on the project, as the creature's dome was sculpted by another special makeup effects legend named Brian Wade. Brian also worked on wonderful films in the past and has an extensive filmography, working for Rob Bottin on The Thing and Rick Baker on Gremlins. The piece was also art directed by David Igo, who is not only a very good friend, but also was my art director while my time at Sideshow. Now, as we see a close-up here of the dome, one might see, it comes through the video hopefully, that the dome has this wonderful, really unusual texture. It's like a milky glass. I really don't know how they done it. It seems on the surface you kind of can touch it as well, and it just really breaks up the light beautifully. So there is very minimal paint on the dome, in the inside of the dome actually, which I really appreciate. I must say that I feel that other collectibles companies, when they do Alien, they really just don't seem to get the paint quantity right inside the dome, because the skull does not supposed to show so much as they do it with certain releases. You know, cool props, alien head, big chap head, and the 1/3 scale alien comes in mind. It's just, there is no paint, you can clearly see the skull, and it was more obscure in the film, which I prefer. Now, here we see some gorgeous details of the sculpt, you know, Paul, beautiful flows, wonderful forms. However, you clearly can see that Paul is not going for realism here. This is an art piece. It's not like, I imagine, although I've never seen it in real life, Sideshow's Alien Warrior bust that they made with in conjunction with Stan Winston Studio. This is art. It's, you can see the rough surfaces, and this is truly Paul taking that concept piece done by H.R. Giger, and where you could see these like giant pupils, if you remember that, or some of the early designs, and just taking it to another dimension, beautifully crafting a presence in the piece. And some people have a problem with this like forward jolting jaw line. I find it magnificent. It's a wonderful touch because it's really following the flow of the head, the design of the head, and it's more on the organic side, which I really appreciate. My favorite alien, and it might be blasphemy for some, is actually the dog alien from Alien 3. Because of that very reason, it's more on the organic side, and Paul took the original Giger biomechanic side and this organic side and brought it together in a perfect fusion. It's magnificent. Now I think at this point we're going to go and take a look at the base, which actually really reminds me of the Batmobile design Giger done for Batman Forever, or Batman and Robin, one of the Schumacher films. And I don't know if this is something that Paul saw and inspired him, or this is completely his idea and they just so much in sync with Giger that basically they were creating similar shapes. Now here, the reason why I was pointing in the video, because I just wanted to show you, so I'm blasting the bust with this daylight lamp. It's an artist lamp, and the reason I'm doing that for, because I really wanted to show you guys how beautiful the sculpt is, and unfortunately, and this is basically my only nitpicking when it comes to the piece, how flat the paint job is. Now the paint is very good actually underneath the dome, thankfully, because I wouldn't know how to remove that and repaint the bust underneath it. It's actually quite nice, but as you can see, there are several colors here. I'm sure that it comes through the camera. There are blues there, like slight oranges. There are some white lines at the end of the head. I don't know if you can see it, but one thing you definitely sure can see is that how flat, you know, everything here to be made to pop better on this bust. Now, don't get me wrong, the paint job is far from bad. Actually, I enjoy it. So when you look at it from the distance, and wow, it works so well, you know, in small dim light, it's just wonderful. But it certainly could be better, and I'm going to repaint this bust and give it some life. And then I'll, whenever that happens, as I told you guys, we're moving house very soon, so Not in the close future, I think, but maybe within 1 or 2 months, hopefully we'll see. And I'm going to definitely post that video as well too. And finally, I just want to say real quickly here, guys, before the review ends, that so I missed out on this piece when it came out initially because the price was really high, I felt at the time, and I just let it pass, and it sold out so quickly that I didn't even have a chance to buy it myself, and the secondary prices were really huge. As I already mentioned, I found one for a really good price, and the gentleman was very kind, very accommodating, and this came to me brand new, so the box was not opened, and I had no idea that it is going to be an artist proof, but it turned out to be. I contacted the seller, and the seller told me that yes, it is indeed an artist proof. So it states on the box, there is no number. I have another artist proof statue that is exactly the same from Sideshow, no number and just a marking on the box. I could not be happier, guys. This is an absolutely magnificent piece, a beautiful, gorgeous sculpt by Paul Komoda and Brian Wade. The art direction is magnificent, and I really love how it captures the sense of the original alien creature and kind of expands upon it, and I just love this piece. It's definitely a keeper. If you can get it now, because I'm sure it's gonna be really hard to get it later with 200 pieces worldwide edition number. And thank you so much for being here with me, and see you on the next one. Bye.